Hello and welcome to this episode of Stage of the Game. As always, we have Owen
Hey.
Hi, Owen.
and Jesse and Tony, who aren't going to introduce themselves, so I have to.
I always feel like you're going to.
No.
Talk for yourself. No.
I can't. I mustn't. What?
So, this week's episode is called Game Changers. We're going to be talking about shows and video games that changed the industry and ones that particularly changed our perceptions as individuals of the industry as theater goers and people who play video games. And of course, we're going to start with the biggest game changer in theater currently, which is Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Which only one of us has seen. Because he's a lucky piece of shit.
We've all
It's
listened
so
to the CD
good.
now. Owen
Yes,
just
Owen
finally
finally
listened
listened to it.
2 weeks now. 2 weeks ago, I first listened to it after holding out for years. But I finally caved.
It's been 2 years now, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And I haven't
so
stopped
good.
listening to it since. So, but it's so good, and it's brought like a new viewership to Broadway, and it's crazy how like this one show has changed people's perception of musical theater.
And we should talk about why, because why is very important. Because so many of the new shows on Broadway are movies or gimmicky, like things meant to make money, like a big name so we can get money. Frozen is coming to Broadway, and not that I don't think that won't be good, because actually it probably will be good. But
All
it's
the
there
things that are
to
coming to
make
Broadway
money.
probably will be good, but at the same time,
Right.
it's like SpongeBob
But
the
it's
musical
there
is
to
probably
make
going to be
money.
really good, but
Exactly.
Yeah, SpongeBob's going to be good just for the fact of we're going to go see it, and we're going to have a good time no matter how
And
good
actually,
or bad it is.
SpongeBob is interesting too, because have you guys seen the set?
No.
I mean, it's insane. It's visually bizarre. It's like an acid trip. It's so.
I've kind of been avoiding listening to
Yeah.
songs and stuff. I know
I
people
haven't
have been
listened to any
posting songs.
songs.
I don't know
I'm scared
anything
of the
about it,
music.
actually.
But I've seen some video clips, and the set is amazing. And one of my friends did see it, and I watched her Instagram story, and she was completely blown away by it visually. I think they really did something
Oh.
insane visually, where they're trying to capture what it feels like to watch SpongeBob. And
I think
an
they're trying to
acid
make
trip
it
way.
actually appealing, not to just children, but to
Yeah.
actual theater goers. And
Yeah.
So I
And I
appreciate what they're
appreciate
doing.
that.
But,
I do
but at the
appreciate
same time, it's still commercial as fuck.
It's
Yes.
still
well,
SpongeBob.
why it exists is commercial, right? People
Yes.
need names, and Hamilton isn't that.
Hamilton, it's technically not original, as it's based off of a book, technically.
Right.
It is based
But
off
it's
of the-
so
It's a good
original
book, by the way.
for
If
a
you
non-original
haven't-
piece.
It's probably the
Like-
most original musical you will see on Broadway.
No one does stuff like that, and no one is allowed to do stuff like that. When's the last time you've been allowed to market a almost 3-hour musical to anybody? Never. It's not allowed.
because the attention spans are so
Nobody
low.
wants that,
Yes.
and yet it's so good. I mean,
And
I will say, as the person who's seen it, I've never seen a show that I had felt more disconnected with reality. It was at the end of the show, I was like, wait, I have to make sure I find a way home tonight. That's
you were so in it.
because I was so into it, and I wasn't expecting to win because I won the lottery, and I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting to win at all, and I had a Greyhound ticket that I just paid for and didn't use because I was like, yeah, I got to get back to Philly tonight, and just nope, and I got into Trenton at 1 a.m. and then took a $45 Uber back to Philly,
worth it.
which is honestly not that much.
Yeah, considering
So-
how much tickets to Hamilton cost.
Yeah, that's super true.
At 2 a.m., a $45 Uber, that's not bad. It was either that or wait till 6 a.m. when SEPTA was running back into Philly. And there was just, I didn't have that. I had that thought right before it started because the set is gorgeous, but the set didn't do that for me. It wasn't here it is, I'm immersed. But once it started, I was like,
Yeah.
So, and not until people started leaving the theater, I had that thought. I had no idea what was going on in the rest of the world.
That's incredible.
And that's never happened to me.
Mhm.
And I've seen really good pieces of theater and just really good works, but that something like that has never happened to me. That disconnect is absolutely a game changer.
Yeah. I mean, and I think too, I mean, Lin-Manuel Miranda he's close to being a genius in some ways, but he picked a story that meant something to him, and he told it in a way that makes sense for us today. And like, in a way we can all relate to, in music that is of our time, that like, you don't have to step anywhere else. It's just being true to the feeling of something without, I mean, it's so brilliant, everything about it. You guys know. You all know. Everyone's at least listened to the CD, seen clips on YouTube. It's so good. I love it. And it's great because, you know, before this, the Tonys before Hamilton, or maybe 2 years before Hamilton, the one where Memphis won the best musical, which I've never seen Memphis and I have nothing against it, but like that year there were like sound problems and there were so few musicals even nominated for best musical, and I was watching the Tonys feeling like, oh my god, theater is dead. Like I'm watching it die before my eyes. And you come out with Hamilton and it feels like it's the beginning of this wave of modern musicals that's going to persist, that we're like going to keep making and keep enjoying, and like there's hope again, and I feel really reinvigorated about the whole idea of theater.
I just did a really quick Memphis Google. 2009.
Oh God! Oh my God! I'm so
8 years ago.
Well, you look at the Tonys. You look at the Tonys the year that Hamilton won, and you look at the people who won. Like, you look at the actors. It created, like, not only did it create like a new genre of musical, it creates so much more diversity in theater, which people don't realize is still a huge problem.
It's still such huge. A fucking issue.
Absolutely, theater is all encompassing, but also there's still a very obvious majority in it. So.
It's crazy. New York Times did some statistics like earlier this year about like the percentage of like demographics that are working in theater, and it was specifically to Broadway, and like the number of like white male people who are actors and directors and all that other stuff is outstanding. Which at first it shocked me, because having worked in so many regional theaters, I work with so many women. Regional theater is like so populated by women, which is great. I love it. And I've worked with such great women stage managers, directors, artistic directors, costume shop. Like, I've worked with so many great women in theater, but the fact to see them that they still having problems. There's a cat.
That was so distracting. And you're saying such great things, but there's a cat.
Sorry, he's just stunning. He's a model.
But yes, I've worked with such great women in regional theater, and like to see that even still on Broadway, they still can't get to that level.
And a big problem is, I agree. A big problem is in writing, because no roles are written for women. How many times can you play the prostitute or the wife? Like, there are great roles for men, and that's why you have to keep...
Even technically in Hamilton, that's still what the roles are.
Yeah, it's smaller. But diversity is really important, because I think what it also shows is that this is a historical piece. I mean, all of those people were white in history. Our country was so white at that time, obviously. Still is, yes. But even more so at that time. And you're looking at a piece and you're saying, you know, it should be done with people of color, because it's about being an outsider, and it's about how our country is made of immigrants, and maybe we should all chill out a little bit on hating people who are different from us. But it says something so important, and I think there are so many plays where people are like, oh, well, you know, you can't cast people of color because this is a historical piece and everyone would have been white. And I'm always like, it's not about race, though. Like, unless your play is like Aida and it's about race, like, what if you chilled out and cast people who were good?
I was talking with my mom recently about Hamilton, and I was saying like how I'm never going to see it. Like, she goes like, "Oh, maybe Montgomery High School will do it." I'm like, "Well, one of the biggest problems is that there aren't enough black people in the show." And it's like, "Well, they could technically do it with white people." I'm like, and then it got me to realizing like,
it shouldn't be
there's going to be once the rights for that go live, it made me realize two things. One, Hamilton Jr. is going to be a thing, and schools are going to do the crap out of it because it's so historic. It's going to teach kids history, and it's going to be a thing. Unfortunately, it's going to be a thing.
I'm holding out hope that it is not.
It will. It definitely will. Because it's so tailored. Like the subject matter is so tailored towards people learning about the American Revolution.
Yeah, but
this is depressing.
Two, there is going to be. I'm just waiting for the first like regional production that's going to be like an all-white production. Someone's going to do it. Someone is going to do it, and
People
it's going to
suck,
be.
and people keep doing
infuriating.
it even now. I mean, there was a controversy about a production of Evita that had no people of color. That was 100% white people.
Yep.
And it's like, why are you like this? Can you just think for a minute about like what you're doing?
Well, there was a production of In the Heights that was supposed to be done in Australia that got shut down because too many people complained like it's all white people. And
It
In the
should be
Heights
shut
is
down.
all about
That's the whole
diversity.
point.
Yeah, you can't take away like what the show is.
even-
I mean,
And even on a high school level, my alma mater 2 years ago, and there was a whole drama behind it. The director was like, "Yeah, I'm going to direct the show." He picked the show. He bought the rights and said, "Yeah, never mind. I'm not going to direct it." There's that. He cast it and everything,
Mm-hmm.
but they did The Wiz in a predominantly white high school, and that's arguable because that's not specific. There's nothing about the show specifically that says, "Hey, this is not supposed to be white people," but also.
but we all know in our hearts it's not
Yes.
supposed to be
Technically,
white.
same thing with
people.
Hamilton. Hamilton doesn't specifically say in the context like
Exactly,
Right.
because technically
it's-
are white people and like the characters
And-
are white, but at the same
Yeah.
time,
And yet, like
And
the
that
whole
frustrated me
It's-
so much.
Yeah.
That frustrated me so much. I was like, if you want to do a white version of The Wiz, do Wizard of Oz.
It already exists, and I hate it.
It
and just do
already
that.
exists.
And
Just
that was a Twitter. I remember someone saying that on Twitter. Like, can you imagine if like someone tried to do it in an all-white version of The Wiz? People would be in uproar. Like, there is an all-white version of The Wiz. It's called the fucking Wizard of Oz.
you
Jesus
have it
fucking
already.
Christ.
Just do it. It's like,
Oh, I hate that play. I think that Montgomery High School, after we left, did do Aida.
Yes, they
Which-
did.
Isn't that insane? How on earth? I don't think there are any. It's such a white Republican horrific sort of area. And I can't imagine how they did that.
Let's not go into that because then we'll start bitching about our hometown. I'm sure Tony doesn't want to hear us do that.
Harrisburg's pretty great, so I'm happy.
Hey.
But okay, we've been talking about Hamilton for a lot, and Hamilton is great, but we need to talk about other things. So let's talk about shows specific to us that like, shows that change us for us specifically, like our perception of theater. For me, that was probably be Sweeney Todd. One of my favorite musicals. I saw the Broadway. I think it was 2006. I want to say 2006. The Broadway revival with Michael Severus and Patti LuPone.
I
And
saw that
it
too.
blew me away. It was so good. And like I'd gone to see. My parents would take me to go see a Broadway show like every year, and I always found them entertaining. But this was the first time I was just like blown away because I had never seen something so dark and gritty. And that's what I love about theater. I love theater that's dark because being in that intimate space, being with like and feeling that uncomfortableness, like you can't really feel with a movie. I mean, you can, but being in the room with the people just creates this atmosphere that you can't recreate. And
Yeah.
they did such a good job, and I was just so shuddered and awed, and it was amazing. So that
was
production.
An incredible production. And you're so right about theater. I mean, that's why we do it, because nothing else is quite like being in that room while people are literally going through something in front of you.
Yep.
Oh my god, Michael Severus is like a fucking god of the theater.
he's
He's
so
my
good.
favorite Sweeney Todd of all time. We've talked about him before, I think, on this podcast.
Probably.
I think it was me.
What a
I'm pretty
guy. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was me.
Could not
He's
agree
talking
more,
about,
though.
Talking
I saw
about
him in both.
He was supposed to come to McCarter, and then he didn't. He was supposed to take place he was going to take place in the reading for Murder on the Orient when we were doing the reading, but he had to cancel because it turned out that was the release party for his new album, which I was like, oh god, I love you, Michael Severus. You do
Yeah.
do that release party, and you
It's
I hope
okay.
it-
I forgive
Your
you.
best life.
I wanted to
but
meet
I just
you.
wanted
What
to
did
meet
do?
you. I
Yeah.
wanted to be able to like chat with you afterwards and take you to the train station. I wanted to say I
sounds
took
sweet.
Michael Severus to the train station.
I wouldn't even know what to say. I would have like a fangirl panic attack where I'm
I
just
would
like,
have
I'll
just brought my
listen to
Sweeney
it
Todd
really
album and have been like next to the sign from McCarter Theater. I would just like held the Sweeney Todd album and be like, sign
Please
it.
sign it, and then my face.
And then my face.
Ew.
I will never wash my hands.
Never wash it again. Oh my
Jesse, what was your game changer moment in theater?
I've had many.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've got a bunch.
Yeah, I mean, and I can think of shows recently that have really changed me, but I think probably an earlier game-changing moment for me was when I saw Inherit the Wind with Christopher Plummer, but not because he's great, although he's so great, but
Not
because
just great.
I know, but he's pretty great. I think he's super cool. There was some article online recently that was like, movies are now, because they what movie did they just replace somebody with Christopher Plummer because he was
Kevin Spacey.
yeah, and they just replaced him with Christopher Plummer. There's some
It
article
should have
that-
been
all
Kevin
movies
James,
being cast with only Christopher Plummer from here on out. And I was like, that
Should have
doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was like a game changer for me because I think that was around when I started realizing that theater could really be about something. And that's the kind of theater now that I'm obsessed with and obsessed with doing. Is theater that's about something and theater that says something and that can change things. Because I think that as an artist, I mean, entertainment is great and I'm all about that sometimes, but sometimes you have to change things. Sometimes Trump was elected president and you have to respond to it and all I have is my art and now I know that I can use it to say something and so I do. And I love shows like that. Another one for me would be Indecent that I just saw recently because it was so important. And you see shows like that and you're like, we really can
We can do
remind
it.
people. Yeah, you can, because people think art is not like it's like a fluff career, like you're having fun, like it's just a big game, but it doesn't have to be. You're really working hard.
It's a big game, and you can get lucky and make a
and you
living
can
out of it.
change
Yeah.
people. People can see a show and be changed in a way they never could just being argued at because they're taking an emotional journey with you, and you can have some sort of way into their hearts as well as their minds.
Working in the arts is one of the most painful things you could possibly do.
Very, very hard. It's a lot of work, and no one pays you, and you really have to have a lot of self-encouragement.
We've said this a lot, but if you want to go into the arts and you can do anything else, like you can physically, you can do something else. You enjoy something else as much as you enjoy being in the arts. Do that.
Yes.
That.
And
It
it
sounds-
I've
sounds
tried. It didn't work, so I had to come back.
I don't like anything
exactly.
else.
It's hard, and it's a really hard lesson. That particular lesson and the know who you are lesson, and that's a very specific actor lesson. Those are the hardest lessons to learn in the arts. But that is absolutely so true.
Yeah, I luckily learned
in so
that,
many
like,
ways.
I know so many people who like they can't do anything other than act. I luckily can because I just love this industry so much. I'm willing to do anything in it. But
That's
yeah,
the rest of us.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there are
So-
people who like I can't do anything other than act. I was born to act. I'm like, good for you.
Sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry that you.
Good for you.
Break
but good
all the
luck.
legs. I will pray for you nightly.
Yeah, exactly.
But let's move on from
Yeah.
that. Tony, what's your
Yeah,
shows?
I've had a couple. One specific acting wise, it was actually sophomore year of high school. The first role I had that I actually like connected with on the actual like Meisner connecting actual acting sort of spectrum of all things. I was the Reverend in Footloose.
Oh,
I've never seen
It's cute. It's very cute, but the Reverend is obviously the bad guy. And
Are you the one who's
he's
like,
not the
no
bad
one is
guy.
allowed to dance?
He's
Yeah,
the antagonist.
he's the antagonist. That's
Why is
Shit.
dancing illegal? Can we take a sidebar and tell me why is dancing illegal?
his
son-
dad died, and they did the autopsy, and the driver had was high.
His son
So-
died.
Dancing.
Because they were at a party.
Yeah, they came from a party, and
They
so
came
he
from a party.
outlawed,
The
like,
driver was high.
music and
Why don't
dance
they
and drugs
outlaw
and alcohol.
drugs? Or alcohol?
It's a long story.
It's not
But
the
there
most, it's like a musical theater that's like not the most straightforward story, but the music is fun and you do whatever.
Right on.
Exactly. But playing that role as how old was I? 15, 16. I actually was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna like play this character, and that was a real game changer. Of okay, I'm not this person, but I'm damn convincing at it. So that was a real game changer acting wise. And I haven't acted now in like sincerely acted in 2-3 years. But that was really from sophomore year of high school until the last time I acted. That was really really a game changer of the, okay, that connection, how can I make that with this character? But for theater wise, I saw, when I was in London, I saw a lot of theater. I saw a lot of good theater. I saw a lot of bad theater when I was in London. Just because it was cheap and I could see anything I wanted.
That's the dream. Going to go see cheap theater.
So much cheap theater. I want to go back so badly. But I saw Scottsboro Boys when I was.
Ooh.
I've heard such good things about that.
Mhm.
It needs to be done more, but it needs to be done well, which is why it's not. Which is why it's not done more.
So legit.
And it's just so good. It came out the same year Book of Mormon came out, which is why it didn't win anything.
But didn't that it didn't like break records at the time for like how many nominations it got?
It won for nominations, but lost everything to Book of Mormon.
So sad.
So, but it's
Which Book of Mormon is good too, by the way.
Of course.
Book of
Absolutely.
Mormon's yeah. But one of the classes I was over there, I had to write reviews of shows I saw, which is part of the reason I saw so many. And I wrote a review for this, and it had to be under 500 words, which is the only hard part of this. Well, yeah, that's really hard.
I'd be like, no!
And
My thoughts.
I have so many.
I have so many thoughts, and I have to condense them. And my first line of that review, I got like a 98 in the class because that's all they wrote. That's all they they rated on was these reviews, and I love writing theater reviews.
Yeah.
So my first line was, after seeing this show, after seeing Scottsboro Boys, when and where myself while I was dying, I said, after seeing this show, I have never been more proud and more ashamed of being an American. And it was just so incredibly moving. For those who don't know, it's the story of the Scottsboro Nine, who were, I guess, the equivalent of hitchhiking on a train. They hopped on a train after it left the station, and while they were on the train, two women who happened to be prostitutes were on a different boxcar in the train, and they jumped off and got caught. And instead of saying, yeah, we're prostitutes, we're on the boxcar, they said these 9 boys who at the youngest was 12 at the time, these 9 young black men took us on the train and raped us. So, and like immediately they say, oh, you raped the white woman, you're gonna be put to death. And then it's the story of their court trials from there on in. And it's only an hour and a half. It's in one act, and it's just it was so good in just so many different ways. And it turned out after I saw it, I knew through one person, one of the actors, and then knew a different one of the actors, the lead actor, through a couple of different friends. And I wrote this review and I sent it to them. I said, will you please share this with them? Just because it was moving so much. And one of them actually responded to me and said, thank you, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But that was really just a game changer. And I can't really get into why. I'm still not sure why, but when I listen to it, it's Kander and Ebb, and it's the last Kander and Ebb they did, because I think it's Ebb died while they wrote it. I think Ebb is the one who's no longer with us. And at the very end, I bought the soundtrack while I was there because I had to. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to it at the very end of the original cast recording. It's Kander singing a song called Go Back Home. And it's so sad. It is because knowing that his writing partner after so many different shows is no longer living, and it's just moving on so many different accounts, and it's such a great story. They fuddled with the actual like facts only a little bit, very very little, and it's just so good, to the same line as Hamilton and Inherit the Wind. I love these historical things.
It's so important. And we can't forget our history.
Yep,
and we record it in books, but also we record it in stage and art, in the way that we respond to things as they happen. And yeah, Scottsboro Boys, I've only heard it talked about with the reverence that you just described it. Mm-hmm. I've been thinking that, because, I live in New York now, and, you can watch any video of a musical at the Lincoln Center Library if you ask ahead, and I've been trying to pick which one I want to go see in my one chance to see it before you can ever see it again. And I think I'm going to do Scottsboro Boys first.
You really should. It's
Yeah.
it's so very good. I would like to see more people do it, but I know exactly why they don't. Because there's a lot of it that you could just fuck up, just
Yeah.
so bad. And that if you don't do it exactly right, it's gonna be offensive.
Yeah.
So it's because though, and they did such a great parallel with minstrel shows. The entire thing is just a big parallel of a minstrel show, and I'm like, it's so symbolic, it's so good, and if you do this wrong, it's gonna be horrible.
So
Like,
offensive.
it's so offensive. In the last number, all of these black men come out in blackface. Spoilers. And I was sitting there when I was watching it, like, oh boy, here we go. Like, this is about to blow my fucking mind, and it did. And sorry.
No, it's
No, don't
good.
apologize.
Feelings are good.
I'm gonna listen to it probably when we're done. So
Nice.
Cheers.
Nice.
Well, we spent a lot of time talking about shows, which is
Yes.
fair because we have a lot of feelings, as you can all tell.
feelings.
This is a reason why we work in theater.
Yeah. Well,
We are
because-
made of feelings.
But let's talk about video games, things that we feel changed the industry, things that VR was supposed to do, but didn't. Maybe it will one day.
it's trying.
It's trying, it's not doing it.
We've got time.
Jumping on that specifically, VR will be. I'm still confident that VR will be a game
Oh,
changer.
I'm sure it will be, but they need to make it more accessible to people.
Exactly right. It's too expensive. It's even Steam brought down the Vive, which is arguably the best system currently. For I'm
I
pulling
just
up.
saw today HTC is coming out with a brand new headset that has no wires attached to it, so it's gonna be free movement.
Ooh,
That'd be fun.
that's smart.
Yes.
Because also, I would totally do that. Like,
But
block.
there's no release date, no price for it.
Unplug myself.
They've just released the specs for it, and that's it.
But still
So-
exciting.
The HTC Vive right now is $599.
Oh,
And that's the best one out there.
And it's
Supposedly.
and I have a couple of friends who have it, and it's a lot of fun. And I know I mentioned on the page a couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine who has a game coming out, and I'll plug that later.
Yes.
But he has a game that he did quickly that's on the Vive, and then it's really fun. And it is really, really cool. But it's $600, and
See,
you can
that's
buy
$600, and you also need to have a high-end PC that can run it. If you don't have one, it's not worth getting.
it's an $1,800 expenditure if you're going to buy the nice PC and the Vive.
Yep.
So the PC that we're recording this right now is the most other than my car is the most expensive thing that I've purchased in my life. So it's including the Xbox, which I'm looking at. It's over there for it's over there. Come, hello, friend. No. So it's not worth it at this point for casual people, for people who are really into gaming, and that's a major part of their life, which arguably I can start going there because I play a video game every day. But
See,
it's
even I wouldn't say call myself a casual gamer. I just can't afford it. I'd love to invest in one because I've seen so many great things. I haven't even gotten to do a demo. I've been like sneaky when I've gone out to like Microsoft stores and Best Buy. Like, it's like, do you guys have a demo? No. Okay.
Owen, come back to down south here to Central
Down
PA.
south.
You're not
Down
that
south to Central PA.
Gosh.
And we can go down south with my friend Lee, who's the developer I was mentioning. We can go all the way down south to Austin, Texas. But yeah, it is definitely worth it. It is a game changer. I will argue that
I'm
that
sure it
VR
will
definitely-
be, but as of right now, it's still not prevalent enough to I can consider a game
Yes.
changer.
PS4 has just put out a trailer for VR Skyrim. So
Oh my god, it looks so bad.
That'd
It
be
looks
like, really?
so
I
bad.
just- I think it's going to be kind of neat.
I'm sure it would be neat.
I'm
It
mad.
looks so bad.
I'm mad that they're keep just doing Skyrim as opposed to and devoting the resources to an actual.
So much about
Elder
Skyrim
Scrolls
is
6.
the whole openness and stuff, and you're going to be so limited in the VR.
Yeah, or get a treadmill and
I was
actually
gonna say they should get one of those round treadmills that you can just walk in any direction.
It's gonna be
I'd be into
it's
that.
gonna be cringy. I'm guessing but yeah, but let's moving because Skyrim's actually a great segue.
Yeah.
Skyrim was a game changer when that
Yeah.
came out, and it was a game changer for me when I first played it.
That's Skyrim. The original Skyrim is what 5-6 years old now.
At least,
So and it is definitely a game changer. It was really good, but the fact that we're still seeing edits and updates to it makes it a game changer.
and we've all
And-
played it. Jesse, you've played it, yes?
I've played it absolutely,
I might go play it later. I don't know.
It's so good.
and there's just so much you can do in there, and so many choices.
Yeah, it changed like the scope of what you expect from like an open world game, and like all the things you can do in it, and it's such a great game.
I love it.
If you feel like being an outlaw, you can go kill a guard and just go.
And I get so immersed in it. Like, I tried to be an assassin briefly, and I felt so bad about killing people that I had to undo it. And I thought that was like a credit to the game for being like realistic, where I felt really bad for like running up behind some woman and being like, nah, you're dead. She was just washing her clothes, and I'm just not cut out to be an assassin. Who
My
knows?
moral compass. The only time I lose my moral compass in video games is when I'm playing Grand Theft Auto, because I'm like, fuck, this game was designed for me to be a dick.
If you can't enjoy being a dick, you should not play Grand Theft Auto.
That's true.
And sometimes I can dissociate, but not in Skyrim. I even felt bad when I was trying to be like join the Thieves Guild, and I had to smash someone's pot, and he just
You're like,
loved it so much. It was like his prized possession. And I had to undo it. I was like, I can't live like this. I'm gonna go do good things. I'm gonna go be in the Warriors Guild or something. I was a werewolf.
There you go. Companions.
Hey,
Yes.
yes, I run them now, so no big or anything, but I'm the leader of the companions, and I'm also like the head wizard at the wizard school.
That's the easiest and stupidest subclass.
It was so.
You barely have to use any magic.
Oh, you know what was
to be-
worse?
No,
It was the Bard College, because
Fucking
why won't
Bard's
they let
College.
me be a Bard?
Like, yes,
They're
you're a
like,
bard
"You're a
now. I'm like, do I get anything? No,
Do I
just
get
the
to
title.
sing? I never even had to sing to get into college. I was like, come on.
I was so
Hey, I
excited
wanna
to be a bard.
Okay, cool.
I was so excited. I was gonna be like, they're gonna give me a lute. I'm gonna get to go sing. They're like, nope, you're a bard now. That's it.
And I'm like, I don't feel like a Bard. Convince me more. Yeah, I did that too.
But
Well, other than Skyrim, because we could do a whole.
we could do a whole thing. But let's do our individual games, I guess.
Owen, go first.
A couple from me. One would be the original Star Wars Battlefront, which
I'll jump into that.
I picked up on a whim because I was looking at PlayStation. This was back when I played PlayStation 2. This was my first console, and I was just like looking at Best Buy. My mom was like, "You can get one game." Like, okay. And so people will argue that I picked incorrectly when I did this, but I narrowed it down between Star Wars Battlefront and Kingdom Hearts.
Oh.
Yes, people. I'm sure people.
Fighting words.
If people watch this, I'm sure they
Our
would have
collective gas.
very, very hard feelings about this. And I didn't pick
That's
Kingdom Hearts.
tough.
I'm like, I want to do a Star Wars game because I like Star Wars. It was Star Wars versus Disney, which were two separate entities at the time.
At the time. Back in the day.
Good days. But
I can argue that one too.
I picked Star Wars Battlefront, and it was just such a fun game. It was a game that I felt like I was playing a multiplayer game when I really wasn't, because PlayStation 2 didn't really have. You could play online,
You
but
could,
it wasn't designed for that. That's what the PlayStation 3 really did. Really brought multiplayer into the PlayStation universe.
Yep.
But it was a great game to play by yourself. I could play with my siblings. It was a great game for that. And it was just a fun game. Even my mom really liked, like, when she was like downstairs on the computer, I'd be sitting there playing, and I'd be like, "We captured a command post. They've captured a command post." My mom loved hearing that. Like, "Oh, you captured a command post. Good for you." So she's
cute.
even today now, like she loves that. She loves that game just because of like that, hearing that thing. So that was one of the games. I'm sure I'll give Tony a second to give his opinion on that.
Yes. I agree with the originals, the PlayStation specific. I didn't play the original Battlefront until after I played Battlefront 2, and I had Battlefront 2 on the PlayStation Portable. I was one of those people who had a PSP. And that was a lot of fun. And it got to the point of, wow, I'm really good at this, and I just would farm it and would just play it forever. And then I got it for PS2 because I didn't realize it was a PS2 game. And then I was like, oh wait, it's Battlefront 2. There must be a Battlefront 1, and I got that.
Yeah.
And then I had such high hopes for Battlefront on
So many feelings about this.
There's so many feelings, and I'm going to dive very briefly into it because it's still fresh.
Well, it should be. The new one comes out Friday.
Exactly. Battlefront 1 is gorgeous, but there's no single player, and that was part of the fun of the Battlefront franchise. That you could play online, kinda, and that was part of the, like you said, you could play it online kind of with in PS2, but there's so much to do by yourself, and that was part of the fun. And then there wasn't anything really to do. They had something. It was like survival, just see how long you survive.
That was such bad mode.
It was such a bad mode.
All people wanted was like a galactic conquest, which
That's
doesn't exist. That was such a great game mode that the original came out with that they just got rid of completely.
As the Empire or as the Rebellion, you just conquer planets, and that's so much fun. But that was so good, and that's all they needed was to migrate it up a system. But anyway, it was beautiful. I got snubbed because I got the fancy Elite Edition.
I did too.
Which at the time was a paycheck and a half for the two of us.
Yep.
So, which is really sad, but
don't you love measuring costs in like your apprenticeship paycheck?
Yeah, and
it's painful.
It's so painful.
But that's a really good way to think about it. If you, for games as a whole, I'm sidetracking, but it's really good. If you spend $60 on a game and you make $10.50 an hour, if you spend more than 6 hours playing that game, it was worth it.
That's a good way of thinking about it.
So it's a neat way of thinking about it, and that's how I usually gauge my gameplay. But anyway, the second one, I was really excited for it. I was like, okay, cool, there's a story mode. I'm really excited. It looks like it's going to be a good story. And then EA just fucked it up.
Fuck you, EA. I'm going to say
Fuck
that
you,
very
EA.
loud
I'll
and
say
proud.
it very,
Fuck
very,
you.
very. They have the most downvoted comment in Reddit history because someone said it's either spend... I paid $80 for this game, and now I have to spend money to unlock the characters I want to play, or spend a full works week.
40 hours it takes
40 hours
to unlock like Darth Vader.
The most arguably the most iconic character in all of Star Wars canon. It takes 40 hours to unlock, or it was GameSpot, one of the reviewing websites, which they take ads for favors and blah blah blah. They get paid money to give good reviews, which I don't really like about GameSpot. But they said I spent $100. They spent $100 and got half of the amount they needed to unlock Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. They spent $250 to unlock both of those characters.
Yeesh.
Or more. I think it's more than that. But that's absurd.
Yeah.
And they took loot boxes, loot crates, and microtransactions to a complete, huge, stupid extent, and to the point that I want to see GameStop give the projection, because like today I had $5 down, and when I heard these rumors about this pre-order, I had to pay it off. I had $60 paid off on this game, and I changed it to the new Pokemon game that's coming out on Friday.
Yeah.
And then paid that off. But I still had $5 down. I left $5 down on Battlefront 2 because I wanted the rumors to not be true. And then all of this came through. Today I went and took that $5 off. I canceled my pre-order. I went and bought chicken nuggets at Burger King. So and the guy at GameStop, and it's my GameStop, so these people know me. I go in there, I buy everything there. And this guy said, I asked why, and I said, I can't support EA. I can't support microtransactions. As much as I really was hopeful for this game, I can't support it. I can't give these people my money. And that's such a shame. And people say it's just like EA to fuck up something that is going to be a given. If they did anything but this, people would have bought this game in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
I was so excited for this
I
story
was
mode.
so excited for story mode, and just but
No, it really makes you resentful when you have to pay. You already paid once. Like, if it's got to be more expensive, make it more expensive. But like when I buy the game, give me the game.
and for
We'll
you
do
could
an
argue-
episode later around like microtransactions and how we feel, because we have a lot to say about that.
Good idea.
Yes, and I will stop there if we're going to do another.
Yeah, just because like we're getting a little off topic, and there is a lot to say about that. We all have a lot of feelings about this.
And looping it back in, that's a game changer. It's EA's new. That is a game changer. If this game is somehow still successful, other organizations and other publishers are going to start doing this, and it's going to change gaming as we know it. So
Yeah. I'm gonna let you guys say your games, but I'm gonna sneak in that my other game would be Left 4 Dead 2, which I think I've talked about on this and have expressed why I love that game so much already on this podcast. So I won't go into further detail. But Portal, Valve,
Portal 2.
make a Left 4 Dead 3. For the love of God, make a Left 4 Dead 3. I know they won't answer this, but I just need to vent.
what if they did? That'd be great. Anyway, you never.
We watched your podcast. Here is the only copy, Owen Likely. You never know.
Jesse, what's your game changer?
Well, you all know my real game changer was Dragon Age Inquisition, because that was the first true open world game I've ever played, and it was my gateway drug not only into more open world games, but also into other consoles besides Nintendo. But I've talked about Dragon Age, I think, constantly on this podcast, so I will say my other smaller game changer was a game I'm sure you've never heard of, which is called Eternal Darkness, which was for the GameCube, and it's like a horror game.
Really?
Yeah, my brother got it from like his then girlfriend. It was like the worst, but like such a good game. So that relationship was 100% worth it.
Her brother's
I don't know,
gay,
I-
by the way.
Yeah, and he's gay, so that's why that didn't work out.
That's why I laughed.
I know, right? But like, good thing it took him a while to figure out, because I really love this game. Eternal Darkness. I don't know. I played it with my brother and my cousin, and it was the first game that like I played in a group where it wasn't like we were watching one person play, which is like fun, but it was like we were all teaming up to like go navigate this horror story together, and every room was like a terrifying surprise. And we beat it like as a group, and it was really just like, because other than that, literally before that, I only played Mario and Zelda, and I played all of them, and Pokemon, but that's all I played. So that was sort of like my first branching out of games, and also my first step into horror, which I now love not only as a video game genre, but as a film and theater genre as well.
Horror.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, we did a podcast about horror.
Yeah,
So-
go check it out.
Go check it out. Go watch our things.
The link will be here. And by that, I mean, no, it won't, because I'm not that good an editor.
Right there.
But if we were, it would be here. Tony, how about your game changer?
Oh, God, it's hard. Things that kind of like define me as a gamer are things that I could play with friends, because there are games that I play by myself. Civ specifically.
Yes.
I play against friends, and then Civ's a hard game, just as a whole, to play with people because it's such a time commitment.
Yeah.
So I play it by myself, and but the Pokemon playing with friends, the weird ones that I used to play with friends were probably Sonic Adventure Battle 2.
What?
You remember that?
Nope.
It had the Chow Garden. So in the
Oh my
middle
god,
of-
shut up. Wait, I totally played that. I played the hell out of
course
that.
you did. And it was so
I
good.
love the Chow Garden. My
It's-
fuckers could race so good.
Exactly. And so in the midst of the story that was actually okay and really fun to play, so in the midst of Sonic running around and getting all these coins and all these Chaos Emeralds, you can go to the Chow Garden and go pet these little Chow, and they'd love you. Yeah,
your
raise these
alien
little
children.
alien children. And it was weird because I played with that with kids in my neighborhood growing up, and then that was on the GameCube, and then just kind of fizzled out, and then I got I had an Xbox 360 but no internet connection, so I'd play a lot by myself. And then I went to college and then started playing this Chow again. And everyone was like, "Oh my god, the Chow!" So and like started playing with friends again, and it was really fun. And that's really what I've become. Sometimes I want to play a video game by myself. Like I stopped playing Destiny today to play Lego Star Wars, just because I wanted to play Lego Star Wars. But I'm a social gamer. I play with friends. It's one of my friends playing today. Okay, I have that. I'll play with them. And that's so. I would say that Sonic Adventure, that and Mario Kart, playing with friends were probably my game changers. That being said, games I played by myself that were game changers, probably Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, shut up. That game rocks.
Exactly. And
you Nintendo people and your games.
But
isn't it funny that a game where you just clean shit could be like such a damn good time?
It's hard.
It's really hard.
And I remember that came out when we were like young, like early teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember coming back from college one summer, and I hooked it back up, and I beat it. I 100% beat it.
For you.
Beat it. And I never did that as a kid.
Yeah.
And I remember screaming like, yeah, and my dad goes, "What the shit are you doing?" I was like, "You don't understand.
Living my childhood
years." So this is taking me years to finish. So yeah.
That's how
now I really
the
want
first
to
time
play
I beat
that.
the Elite Four.
Yeah, legit too.
That was hard for you, Owen, was it? You need a Pokemon master.
Snapper.
Ooh, fight words. Want to see my living Pokemon? It's right here.
Hey.
He still plays all the new Pokemon because he's that into it.
They're good. I mean, like I do like.
Yeah, I stopped after Pokemon Gold.
The last one I played was I don't remember, but it was slightly further than that. It was like a long game. Wait, can we hear Tony? I can't hear Tony.
Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Now I can hear you.
There you go. There's a new one coming out on Friday. So.
Hey. I always liked it. Even, you know what I liked as a kid? This is a really dumbass game, too. Pokemon Snap.
Oh!
Did you guys play Pokemon Snap?
I did.
It's so dumb. I loved it so much.
I tried to speed run that. The record for speed running is like 58 minutes, and I beat it in an hour 10.
Nice.
So,
well, the cart just goes so slow.
Yeah,
it's like you have to wait to get to the end.
I beat it in an hour 10. It was my record. So
there was just something satisfying about like the secret things in it, where you like throw a rocket Voltorb and he explodes it.
Suddenly something's here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. They need, especially with like the Switch, or they need to re-up that.
I think they should.
There's 780 Pokemon now, so they need
a lot of Snap levels.
Something.
Well, you know how Nintendo's bringing back all their old systems with like the classic editions. Rumor is that the next one is N64. Which I will pre-order in a heartbeat so I can play Goldfinger.
Literally,
Goldeneye.
I still have my
it's Goldeneye.
Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
It still works. I still blow in the cartridges every once in a while.
Mine is down there somewhere.
I never had one. I just mooched off my friends when I was a kid. That was like the console that was like made me want to be interested in video games. Going over to friends' houses and seeing them have one.
Mine currently has Majora's Mask in it.
Nice. Mine is Ocarina of Time in it.
Another one that a reason I would pre-order the shit out of a retro N64 is Snowboard Kids. Did either of you play that game?
I totally played Snowboard Kids. That
was me and my sister would play that game. It was one of the only games. My sister's 3 years older than me. It's one of the only games she and I would play together. Wow. And it was so good. And we were so bad. I literally forgot
it existed until you brought it up just now. Yeah, and you do like tricks in the air. And
it was so bad. It was so hard.
It was so great. I love that game. That's a great game.
So,
I mean, not objectively, but like to me personally. I remember like the music now. The music is like playing in my head.
Exactly. things I want, things that need to happen. That should happen right before Christmas this year.
Yeah, no.
No, Black Friday.
Well, when we initially talked about doing this episode, we said it was going to be like a 20-minute episode, and it's been 50 minutes because we have thoughts and feelings.
We have thoughts and feelings.
But
I think we should probably stop.
Yeah. But thank you guys for listening, watching. If you did, who knows? We now have 1 subscriber on our YouTube channel.
We do? Who is it? Is it Patrick? I bet it's Patrick.
No, it's Matt Enters.
Matt
Enters. I don't know
love
who you
that
are.
guy.
Personal
he was
shout
a
out.
guest on our last podcast,
He was.
which
Oh,
was
cool.
the MMO.
I meant to
Unfortunately,
watch that.
his video didn't get captured for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Oh.
I'm guessing that this recording software can only do 4 videos at a time, and he was the last one into the room, so didn't record his.
Gotcha.
Oh,
But yes, if you want to let us know what you guys what your games changed your opinion of the industry, what got you hooked, what shows got you into theater. Let us know. Let us know what you want to talk about, what you want us to talk about. Seriously,
I care.
anything.
We'll do it.
Literally,
We will
no one has
probably
ever.
do it.
We ask this every week, and no one has ever commented. Please,
You could be
give
the
us
first.
something.
You could make our day.
We've
You could get
run
a
out of
personalized
ideas.
response.
You can get a personalized response. Yeah, maybe a shout out. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who
We'll
knows?
say your name on this podcast. Or we won't if you don't want us to. Flexible.
Yeah, if you subscribe, you'll be like Matt Enters and just get a shout out after.
And we'll
shout
just
out.
reverentially say your name. Matt Enters.
What a great
Matt
name.
Enters.
What a great name. It's a sentence, too. A complete sentence. Matt Enters. Period.
I just realized that if you include Matt Enters, all of us here have last names that are actual words.
Oh, yeah.
Got Likely,
Can we
Field,
make a
and Bender,
sentence
and then
out of
Enters.
them? Probably not.
Nope. I don't
No.
know.
Not at all. Will your last name complete our sentence? Comment below.
Well, thank you guys for
Yes.
listening and watching, whatever, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.